Hello and welcome to another evening of stock car racing here on Premier Sports, where tonight the action comes to you from Bellevue Stadium, the home of motorsport in Manchester, for the final brisca F1 World Championship qualifying round of 2017. The World Championship semi-final grids will be known after this meeting, all the drivers fighting for those last vital few places in the top positions, supported by the V8 hot stocks in their European Championship meeting. First half of the programme will see the heats, the whites and yellows and the consolation events for the brisca F1s, while the final and Grand National is in part two, along with the European Championship for the V8 hot stocks. We kick off then with a special white and yellow grade only race for the brisca Formula 1s. 13 cars out there for a 12-lap race, and already we have a spinner as the cars head up towards the green flag. Elliott Smith going backwards, tangling up there with Carl Hawkins and Tim Warwick in the 307 car, so an early incident there. They haven't even reached the green flag. On a rather rough track surface here at Bellevue today, we get underway. Down the back straight there, 502 Ricky Wilson coming under fire from the Luke Dennis car, number 192. Mark Poole ahead of them. We've not seen him out for a while, number 276, but it's white grader Robert Plant who has taken off into the lead in car 364. So it's Plant who leads the way then by a clear margin ahead of Nigel Harry in car 45. Normally it's Kings Lynn that runs dedicated white and yellow grade races at the start of the meeting, but Bellevue trying the concept here as well. Somebody clipping a marker tyre there off turn 4. That was the 57 car of Bill Fenwick. As 364 Robert Plant, relative newcomer to brisca F1, leads the way. You are new to brisca F1, then the white grade is the lowest points grade in the sport, followed by yellow, then it goes blue, red and superstar. We'll see the higher grades come in for the heats later on. There goes Chris Broxop in 338, had a win at Kings Lynn in front of our cameras earlier this season. As off goes Nigel Harry, he's spun at turn 1. So it's still Robert Plant out in front. Tim Warwick going off there into the fence at turn 3, the man from Bedford. The longest serving drivers in brisca F1, also pulling up there is Broxop in 338, I think he's got a puncture. That's 192 Luke Dennis comes under fire from Jack France in 216, just misses his back bumper there into turn 1. 175 of Carl Hawkins ahead of veteran Jeff Nichols in 215. There goes the leader, Rob Plant ahead of Jeff Nichols. Ricky Wilson in third, Luke Dennis in fourth, then it's Jack France, so Carl Hawkins must be a lap down. I think he had an off. Yes, of course, he was involved in that tangle right at the start of the race. Robert Plant leads in 364. Into the back straight he goes, avoiding the spun Elliott Smith there in 293. Coming up to lap the 337 car of Dave Willis. We've not seen Dave out on track for a while. There's Jeff Nichols in 215. Great to have him back out as well. Another of the long-serving drivers in the brisca F1 fraternity. That's a newcomer showing them the way here. Robert Plant in 364. Dave Willis has done the fastest lap of the race, but he's almost a full lap behind our race leader. Turns 1 and 2 they go. 502 Ricky Wilson chasing down 215 of Jeff Nichols. Ricky Wilson, who has made red grade in the past, facing the veteran Jeff Nichols. Rob Plant away and clear at the front then. Less than 3 laps to run as signalled by the start marshal. Majority of the cars still going on this tight and tricky shale weight. Former home of the Bellevue Aces Speedway team. They now race at the National Speedway Stadium just along the road from this venue, Bellevue at Kirkmanshulme Lane. So coming round to start their final lap very shortly as Ricky Wilson lunges at Jeff Nichols. They're battling for second place, but length of a straight around behind Rob Plant in 364. And that's Bill Fenwick in 57 into his final lap and looking for his first ever brisca F1 win. 364, Rob Plant avoids the stranded car of Elliott Smith, goes down the back straight for the final time, and coming in to take his first ever race win. Rob Plant in 364 out of the final turn wins the whites and yellows race by a handsome margin. Bit of smoke there from Ricky Wilson's car. He's slowed up, and second place will go to Jeff Nichols. Wilson third, Luke Dennis fourth, and Mark Poole taking 5th place. So well done Rob Plant, a first ever brisca F1 victory by over 5 seconds ahead of Jeff Nichols. Ricky Wilson third ahead of Luke Dennis and Mark Poole. 10 cars went the distance in that one, and it was Mark Poole who got the fastest lap of the race. Track has been watered ahead of heat number 1 for the brisca Formula 1 stock cars. 17 cars out on track, half of the entry here today out this time. We've got just under 40 cars here today. Big names from the red and superstar grades to watch here, including Lee Fairhurst, the former world champion in 217, another former world champion in Craig Finnegan. Danny Wainman's out in this one as well. There's Paul Hines leading the red tops in 259 alongside 335 of Mark Woodhull. 268 Richard Woods on the front of the grid alongside 308, which is Steve Malkin Jr. His dad Steve Sr. will be racing today as well. There's Lee Fairhurst and Craig Finnegan, 217 and 55 at the back, as away they go on a rather wet and greasy track down towards turn 1. Richard Woods leads them off. Rob Plant, our white and yellow grade race winner, is out in this one. He goes through into second place. Into the mud they go on the first turn. John Wright spinning out there in 348. That's delayed the red graders. Carl Hawkins attacking 338 of Chris Broxop around turns 3 and 4. Splash their way down the home straight there. It's Richard Woods who has got the lead ahead of Steve Malkin by 1 second at the end of lap 2. Bumper going in there on our camera car. Richard Bryan spins him out. That was 446 there. Joe Booth putting the bumper in. Richard Bryan spins on turn 1. Carrying our rear-facing camera. 55 of Craig Finnegan attacking Paul Hines in 259. Side by side as they come off turn 4. Hines holds the place. Hasn't had a lot of luck in recent times. Paul Hines, former European champion. Still your leader is Richard Woods, going well in 268. We've seen him have some good runs on the shale this year. Cruising into turn 1, and he's thrown it in too hard. He's going to spin out. Round goes Richard Woods. I put the curse of the commentator on him there, I think. Sorry, Richard. He gets going again, but it's Steve Malkin Jr. now in front in the orange 308 car. Second place, Rob Plant, and up to third, looks like Joe Booth in 446. Booth under fire, though, from Lee Fairhurst in 217. May not be there in third. I think it's another of the blue graded. Yes, Scott Davids in fact is in third. Apologies there. Joe Booth getting caught up there with Craig Finnegan. Almost goes into the fence on turn 2. He does clip the fence post with his rear wheel. So Steve Malkin Jr. with the lead ahead of Rob Plant down the home straight. Scott Davids is now up into second place attacking Malkin, who goes sideways on turns 1 and 2, and through goes Scott Davids in 462, the local man into the lead. Slide their way around. A couple more cars going to go spinning there. Carl Hawkins, Danny Wainman and Joe Booth. It's so slippery there going into turn 1. They're struggling to hold it together here. Scott Davids leads ahead of Malkin. Third place we have got the 364 of Plant as Malkin nearly loses it again on turn 2. Then Craig Finnegan. And then we've got Lee Fairhurst. John Wright still stuck there on turn 2. Couldn't get the car fired up again as the bumper goes in from Craig Finnegan. Fires Robert Plant out wide. And Lee Fairhurst in 217, the 2012 world champion, will come through as well. So they're up to third and fourth behind Malkin. Scott Davids clearing away in front. Craig Finnegan, something of a Bellevue specialist. And he achieved a rare distinction earlier this season at Bellevue as he fires Steve Malkin Jr. wide there. Craig Finnegan, early season at Bellevue, won the final and then won the Grand National from the lap handicap as well. Very rare we see that done in brisca F1. Past half distance, we saw the Union flag out for halfway. Lee Fairhurst chasing Craig Finnegan here. He's just done the fastest lap of the race. Lee Fairhurst, there is our race leader, 462 of Scott Davids. He's nearly 3 seconds up on Craig Finnegan now. Passing the 238 car of Richard Bryan there to lap him. Also being lapped a couple of the yellow graders, Nigel Harry and Bill Fenwick go a lap down. Back from Richard Bryan in 238. He has just been lapped, being closed down by Craig Finnegan now in 55. Very, very difficult conditions here at Bellevue today. Drivers making their best of it on a very rough track surface. 5 laps to go for race leader Scott Davids. Can Craig Finnegan catch him? Well, he's almost caught him there around turns 1 and 2 as Steve Malkin gets spun out by Paul Hines in 259. Davids still leads it. Here come Finnegan and Fairhurst. Davids throws it into turn 1, tries to hook Nigel Harry out of his way in 45, continues on, looking for a win on his local venue. Been a winner on the tarmac recently at Northampton, taking a consolation race win after Long-time leader Alex Wass went straight on the final bend. He's almost caught up there with Danny Wainman, 4.62 Scott Davids. He's got back markers all over him. I think Davids is in trouble here. Yeah, he's slowing down, and through comes Craig Finnegan into the lead. And Danny Wainman attacking them for a lap down, and Scott Davids into a marker tyre there, under fire from Lee Fairhurst. I think he was going for one of the back markers there, Scott Davids, but that's ruined it for the blue grader. With 2 laps to go, Craig Finnegan has gone into the lead ahead of Lee Fairhurst. Well, I don't know what happened to Scott Davids there. He suddenly seemed to slow and then got stuffed into a marker tyre by Lee Fairhurst. Finnegan leads it then. Past Robert Plant to lap the white top. And coming in to start the final lap. 1 to win for Craig Finnegan. Won his world title on the Shale in 2014 at Coventry. Side by side with the 212 car of Danny Wainman. Putting the 212 a lap down. The former under-25s champion. Through they come to take the checkered flag then. The win goes to Craig Finnegan in car 55 ahead of Lee Fairhurst. Confirm the rest of the results in just a moment. Disappointment for Scott Davids there, led for so long, but stuffed by a combination of Craig Finnegan, Lee Fairhurst, and a couple of back markers. And talking of stuffed, up onto the infield goes Neil Scuthern in 1.52 there, nearly climbing over the marker tyres. So Finnegan the winner by 1.1 seconds ahead of Lee Fairhurst, with Davids recovering for third, Mark Woodhull fourth, Paul Hines taking 5th. 12 of the 17 starters went the distance, and it was Chris Broxop who got quickest lap.
55, Craig Finnegan, winner of Heat 1 here. Crucial world qualifying points?
Yeah, at the moment, I think at the moment we're set on about 4th row. Depending where Nigel goes, I think we're on 4th row to Stoke, which might just suit me, I think. So I might load up now.
Yeah, but that could all change still this afternoon. You win the final, you can move up even further.
I think if I've got to score about 42 points to jump another row, according to the points director Nigel. So we'll see how the final goes yet.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you very much.
The other half of the entry out for heat number 2 then. Included in this race are the 2 drivers fighting to top the World Championship qualifying points this year. Nigel Green and Dan Johnson in numbers 4, 4, 5 and 4 respectively. Also out there we've got Shale specialist Mark Gilbank in number 21. The world champions in this race, number 1 Frankie Wainman Jr. with the gold roof. His son Frankie Jr. Frankie JJ as we call him is out in this one. There he is in treble 5. Number 16 Matt Newson once again at the wheel of the Mark Sargent car. There's Dan Johnson, the orange car, number 4, and 422 of Ben Riley starts behind them. So those are some of the leading names to look out for. We've also got out there number 73 Rob Cowley in his, well, he tells us this is his last season of stock car racing this year after a career spanning around 40 years. There's Nigel Green in 445 alongside number 1 of Wainman. Away we go then with 208 Steve Malkin Sr. leading the field away. We've got yellow graders in trouble already though. 307 Tim Warwick gets taken out. That's the second time he's been in trouble before the green flag has gone down. Jeff Nichols, the man who's tangled with him in 215. So away we go then down towards the first turn. Luke Dennis goes spinning in 192. Typically chaotic start here at Bellevue. The 192 car left facing the wrong way. Also lost Mark Poole, James Morris as well in 463. So a mayhem-filled start there. Steve Malkin, the lone white grader, Steve Malkin Sr. in 208 leads the way. Looking back from Ben Riley in 422, already getting covered in wet shale. Won't let that slow him down though, as he battles past a couple of spinners there. One of them was 169 of Billy Johnson. Has gone into the fence on turns 1 and 2. There's the leader, number 208, Steve Malkin Sr. coming up to lap Tim Warwick in 307 after he's off earlier on, and Malkin's losing it. Round he goes on turns 1 and 2. That's going to cause mayhem behind him as cars fly off in every direction. Now, who's going to come through into the lead? I think it's Geoff Gibson in 249 that's got through into the lead there. There's a car park on turns 1 and 2, but I think they're all going to get going again. So I think it's Geoff Gibson that's got through into the lead with Matt Newson behind him in number 16. Everybody just flew in every direction there on turn 1. In goes the bumper from Newson on the back of Gibson and wallop straight into the fence he goes, but Newson's got himself caught up. The caution flag comes out. I think Newson's lost a wheel there. Yes, the front wheel's hanging off the 16 car. Well, I've no idea who's leading now after all that mayhem. We'll have to work it out once the race restarts, because the caution flags have come out because there was so much mayhem going on there on turns 1 and 2. Gibson, I think, has been allowed to resume his lead position at the head of the pack there going into turn 3. Second, Dan Johnson, and third, Nigel Green. Remember, those two fighting for the lead of the World Championship qualifying table. And the winner of that, the man who tops that table, gets to choose which semi-final he races in. 249 Geoff Gibson leads them off then, but for how much longer? Because he's got the three superstars on his tail: Dan Johnson, Nigel Green and Junior Wainman. He's going to fire in at turn 3. Dan Johnson's just about going to survive that. He takes the lead ahead of the world champion, world and British champion Junior Wainman in number 1. Now the bumper goes in on him from Nigel Green, and the dad spins Johnson out. They all go on turn 2. Nigel Green's escaped that. Well, he judged that to perfection. Well done, Nigel Green. That's a classic stock car racing move. Wainman taking out his frustrations on Ben Riley. Gets done in turn by Dan Johnson. That's taken Geoff Gibson out. Wainman goes into the fence along with Gibson. So different to Heat 1. This was such a tame affair, the first race. So Nigel Green's now got the lead. That was a perfect move to dispatch the 3 ahead of him there on turn 1. That was brilliant racing. 192 Luke Dennis now spins out James Morris. And Nigel Green has been left with a clear lead. I could hardly keep up with all that. We're not even halfway through this race yet, as James Morris gets hit on the nose there by Sam Jacklin in 137, making his debut here at Bellevue today, having moved up from the V8 hot stock. Sam Jacklin in number 137. Started from the back of the grid in this one, and Junior Wainman's been spun out again. He's tangled there with Geoff Gibson and Rob Cowley. Jeff Nichols involved as well. Are the leaders going to get through this? Only just there on the inside, blasting almost down the infield, Nigel Green. But Dan Johnson's not finished yet. He gets Tim Warwick and Bob Griffin out of his way. We're only halfway through this. Goodness me. So Bob Griffin is in 3rd place, just lost out to the recovering Dan Johnson. He's recovered superbly after nearly being in the fence about 3 or 4 laps ago. So it's Green from Johnson, Griffin 3rd. Then we have got, I think it's Ben Riley in 4th place, as Sam Jacklin hits the fence going into turn 3. What a brilliant race we're seeing here, despite the trying conditions here today at Bellevue. Oh, the race now settling down again very slightly. It's Green, Johnson, Griffin, Riley 4th, then Mark Gilbank in 21 in 5th place, and Frankie JJ rounding out the top 6. There is Mark Gilbank, number 21. Here's the battle for the lead. Nigel Green shadowed by Dan Johnson, as Jack France gets fired wide there in 216 by 169 of Billy Johnson. Again, the bumper goes in from France there on the back of the 169. Good scrap going on there in the lower reaches of the top 10. It'll be 4 laps to go this time. Again, Johnson fires in. Somebody's lost an aerofoil there, one of the yellow graders. I think that might be Luke Dennis in 192. Tell which number he was because the numbers disappeared along with the aerofoil. No, it's Mark Poole, sorry, I can see it now there on turn 2. Mark Poole's lost his aerofoil. He's had to pull up. Nigel Green still leads it, shadowed by Johnson in number 4. Is he limbering up for a big last bend lunge? I wonder. The dust's beginning to fly here in the closing stages of this one in the sunshine of Manchester. Coming towards the closing stages, there's broken cars littering the raceway. What a brutal race this has been. Further back in the order, this is the battle for 4th place. Rob Cowley gets stuffed into Ben Riley by Mark Gilbank. That's fired Cowley out wide. He's now battling with one of his fellow yellows as Gilbank now tries to launch an attack on Riley into turns 1 and 2. Takes him wide, side by side as they come off the turn there. What else can happen in this race? Frankie JJ has dropped out there as well. Gilbank attacks 422 of Ben Riley. Where are our 2 leaders? Nigel Green versus Dan Johnson on the run to the line. Johnson's not going to get close enough, I don't think. He's trying, but he's not going to do it. And Nigel Green wins a crazy heat number 2 ahead of Dan Johnson. That could prove vital in the World Championship qualifying points. 3rd is Bob Griffin. Mark Gilbank finally got through for 4th ahead of Ben Riley. Goodness me, I could hardly keep up with that. So much going on there in the dust in that heat number 2. So Nigel Green the winner by 0.6 of a second over Dan Johnson, then Griffin, Gilbank, Riley and Luke Dennis taking 6th. 13 cars went the distance in that one. Nigel Green got the fastest lap of the race as well as winning it.
Nigel Green, winner of Heat 2 here, top of the tree and intending to stay there.
Yeah, it seemed that way, wouldn't it? Yeah. I was a bit fortunate in that one, really. There was a few parked cars in the middle of the corners that went my way. I managed to keep round the curve, and then got in front of Geoff Gibson and Wainman got involved, and then the next thing Geoff's just dozing us in, and fortunately I got my car turned enough and could drive out the fence, and pretty much job done from then on. So yeah, made an entertaining race of it.
Chance to score a lot more points yet. Which semi do you favour?
Probably Skegness. I'm going okay on both surfaces at the minute, but I think probably Skeggy's a bit more forgiving at the first corner. Racing on shale can be a bit of carnage if the people behind you want it to be. So at the moment, I think I'd choose Skeg next.
And is there a chance of the new car being at that semi-final?
Don't think so. No, we're getting further and further behind. Everybody's busy doing other things, so at the moment we just stick with what we've got. We seem to be going okay, so we just stick to what we know and crack on. When the new car's done, we'll run it and see what happens. But no, there's no big plans for a surprise or anything in turn with a new bat and ball. Just stay as we are for now.
That's right, don't fix what's not broken.
That's right, yeah. Once you get going, I mean, I've got the wind behind me at the moment. Everything seems to be going my way. I've not really changed anything, but it's just how stock car racing goes sometimes. So you can have a good run or a bad run and not really change anything. So at the minute, I'm going all right.
Well, good luck for the final.
Thank you. Cheers.
Consolation time then for the Brisca Formula 1 stock cars. These are drivers who didn't get through to the final at the first attempt, and perhaps the biggest name out there for this one, number 84 of Tom Harris, who failed to race in his heat. So he's making up for lost time in this one, the former world champion. He'll start as the favourite for victory, I would expect, in this one, along with Matt Newson in number 16. Others to watch out for: Will Hunter in 220, been plagued by mechanical problems of late. John Wright out there as well, the blue grader in 348, didn't do a lap in his heat. So away we go then, 16 laps the distance, 17 cars out there fighting for the last few places on the grid for the final. Richard Woods and Steve Malkin Jr. lead them off. Steve Malkin Sr. in third position. Round the first turn they go. Are they all going to make it round? No. Rob Cowley gets taken sideways, and again Tim Warwick in trouble on the opening lap. At least he got as far as the start line this time. Matt Newson already making up places at the wheel of the Mark Sargent car. Had a wheel strip from the car as he tried to take the lead of his heat, and Richard Woods has gone there on turn 4, so it's the Malkins running 1 and 2. We haven't seen Steve Senior racing for a while, so good to have him out there in second place. Neil Scuthan spins in 152, and Tim Warwick's going to go around as well. He's having that sort of day, facing the infield tyres there on turn 3. Turn race settling in then, Steve Malkin leads it, but he has a half spin there, and he's been collected by Will Hunter at turns 1 and 2. They manage to continue. Nigel Harry comes to a dead stop in the middle of turns 1 and 2, gets collected by Matt Newson in the 16 car. Typical Bellevue bash and crash action here in the early stages of this consolation event. Will Hunter making up the places in 220. He's got ahead of the 308 car. I think he's just taken the lead there. Will Hunter, a bit hard to follow here at Bellevue today because there's so much going on. Tom Harris and Matt Newson, the 2-2, keep an eye on. Down the back straight they go, catching Tim Warwick in 307. There is the 220 of Will Hunter up front ahead of Malkin, Jack France in 216, and Chris Broxop in 338. Got the fastest lap in his heat, even though he failed to finish it, had to go in the consolation, so he could be worth watching here. The 216 car elbows his way through. Will Hunter up front in 220, the former novice of the year, ahead of Jack France, who gets a vicious attack there from Steve Malkin. They both go out on turns 1 and 2. Now slide into the infield tyres. Chris Broxop left on his own in second place. Great cloud of dust as they try to rejoin there on turn 2. Matt Newson lunges in at John Wright in 348. All over each other there at turns 3 and 4. Tom Harris up the inside. Chris Broxop has now taken the lead. I think Will Hunter has dropped out of the race. Yes, we've lost the 220 car, so it's Chris Broxop now with the lead, coming from 5th on the grid. Now leads the way by a clear margin ahead of this scrap behind him. Matt Newson passes Steve Malkin Sr. John Wright out of shape there over the curb on the inside of turn 4. That's allowed Tom Harris to come through in car 84. This is the fight for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Matt Newson in second place now and going clear in number 16 behind Chris Broxop. There goes the 338 car, the Leicestershire base driver. Just reached halfway in 338. Ahead of Matt Newson by 3 seconds now. Now, can the yellow grader hang on here, or is Matt Newson going to reel him in, or indeed Tom Harris, the man who races regularly over in the USA in midget cars and sprint cars? There is Newson driving the Mark Sargent car once again after his own shale car gave trouble earlier in the season. 307. Tim Warwick in the fence there on turn 2. It is just not Tim's day at all. Tom Harris closing up on the 16 car of Matt Newson for second place. Steve Malkin Sr. is on the infield. He's out of the race. But it's all about the battle for second here, because Chris Broxop is away and gone up front, and I don't think these two are going to catch him. He will catch a slowing blue grader though. Work out and identify who that is. Well, there's our leader, Chris Broxop, coming up to lap the 73 car of Rob Cowley. Somebody in the fence there on turn 4. Bill Fenwick in 57, that is. 338 of Broxop continues to dominate this consolation event. 3 to go next time around. Still Tom Harris, can't do anything about Matt Newson ahead of him. Maybe he's playing it safe, trying to qualify for the fine. Will Hunter has pulled up on turn 4, he's out of it. Trying to get going again. It's the lead earlier on when he pulled to the side. Lead is now down to 1.8 seconds for Chris Broxop. I don't think Matt Newson's going to catch him though. Still those 2 cars in the fence there on turn 4. Will Hunter, Bill Fenwick. Matt Newson now under attack from Tom Harris. There goes the bumper in on turns 1 and 2. Harris to the inside, down the back straight. He's going to go through and take second position. Matt Newson will respond with the bumper. No, he doesn't this time around. Rob Cowley is there on the outside in 73, just along for the ride now. He's been lapped a couple of times. We're on the last lap now. These two are not going to catch Chris Broxop. He's going to take the win. But who's going to be second? Matt Newson will attack, I'm sure, into the final turn. He's limbering up. In goes the bumper. Up the inside goes Matt Newson. He'll take second place behind winner Chris Broxop. Broxop wins it ahead of Newson second, Harris third. Good finish there between those two for second and third places. We'll confirm the rest of the results very shortly. Good racing there in our consolation event. Win going to 338 of Chris Broxop. Second win of the season. Had one at Kings Lynn a few weeks ago. Wins by 2.5 seconds, near enough ahead of Matt Newson, with Tom Harris in third ahead of John Wright and Jack France rounding out the top 5. 12 of the 17 starters went the distance. It was Matt Newson who got the fastest lap.
338, Chris Broxop. We said at Kings Lynn you don't win many nowadays. Some people weren't happy with that, and now you've made us eat our words.
Oh yeah, but it's going a bit pear-shaped this year. I either have a really bad meeting and don't finish any races, or I win one and have a good meeting. So hopefully this will carry on and have a good place in the final.
Yeah, it's always nice to see yellow tops winning, especially when the big boys are here, and you were going well. Again, like Kings Lynn, you had a huge lead and no one was catching.
Yeah, it's the main problem's bad luck. The British, it was bad luck. I lost the side rail in the second race, and it's all things that I can't control. I sit here and drive it and race, but cars bouncing out of the fence and things like that, it's just beyond my control, so it's just how it happens.
Well, best of luck for the final.
Thank you.
So a fair amount of damage to be repaired following those very lively heats and consolation. More stock car racing coming up after this short break. Welcome back to Bellevue Stadium here in Manchester. Almost ready for the finals for the brisca Formula 1 stock cars. The V8 hot stocks will be out as well for their European Championship final. One driver not competing in the brisca F1 final, Lee Fairhurst in 217, being sent back there by the marshals into the pits. So 28 cars will line up for this meeting final, racing over 20 laps in difficult conditions here at Bellevue today. Of course, the two to watch towards the back of the field, Nigel Green and Dan Johnson, fighting for supremacy in the World Championship qualifying points. Tom Harris will start among the favourites here as well, also Bellevue specialist Craig Finnegan. We've not seen this year the man we called Mr. Bellevue last season, number 94, John Dowson Jr. Hopefully we'll see him back out racing soon. There is Tom Harris in a similarly coloured car to that of John Dowson. Rob Plant and Richard Woods will lead the field away. Here we go then, over 20 laps. Already a big push amongst the phalanx of blue graders, and they're going everywhere on turn 4. Several cars bounce off the fence. At least 3 or 4 cars left behind. There's more cars further around the turn facing the wrong way. Tom Harris gets a flick there from Nigel Green, and Harris will respond into turn 1. Somebody's going the wrong way. That's Luke Dennis driving against the flow there on turn 2. So a typically mayhem-filled start to this meeting final. Billy Johnson is facing the wrong way there on the inside. No, it's not. It's Bobby Griffin, sorry, in 166. Billy Johnson was involved in that early melee on turn 4, though, as were about half the blue graders. Chris Broxop has escaped into the early lead then. The white graders have rather self-destructed in the midst of all of that. Now Luke Dennis spins out. He's been collected by about 3 more cars. We're going to end up with no cars left running by half distance at this rate. We're only on lap 2 and we've lost about 15% of the field already. Bobby Griffin facing the wrong way. What's going to happen here into turns 1 and 2? I think they've just about all got round. Nigel Green chasing Tom Harris. John Wright in there as well in 3.48. Broxop who leads, 2 seconds up on Jack France, who's just been assaulted there by Dan Johnson in number 4. He's made a fast start. So Broxop leads ahead of Johnson now second. Everybody else trying to be third. And beyond that, there's not much left. Oh dear. Broxop leads. Going clear in the 3.38 car, looking for a heat and final double, passing stranded cars on the inside of the raceway. Now around goes Carl Hawkins, losing part of his aerofoil there, tangling with Nigel Harry and Rob Plant in there as well in 3.64. There's the battle for the lead going through. Chris Broxop has been caught by Dan Johnson now. The track's getting narrower there on turn 2 as Johnson fires Broxop into Jeff Nichols. That's allowed Tom Harris to come through though. Amazingly, Broxop has survived that and he still leads. But for how much longer? Tom Harris at the inside. He takes the lead into turn 1 ahead of Broxop, Dan Johnson and Craig Finnegan in 4th place now in 55, the Bellevue specialist. That was a good recovery there by Chris Broxop. The yellow flags are now coming out, not surprisingly, because the track is absolutely replete with graunched machinery and retired drivers. Nigel Green caught up there in 4.45. Now is he out of the race? That could be critical in terms of world qualifying points. 84 Tom Harris it is who has got the lead ahead of 3.38 of Chris Broxop. Dan Johnson third, but he struggled in the world qualifier at Northampton a week ago where Nigel Green won the final. So Dan Johnson is behind in the world qualifier points. It was close after Ipswich, but in the penultimate round at Northampton, Dan Johnson got rather walloped straight in by Tom Harris and only picked up a couple of points when he got back out for the Grand National. So he's well behind Nigel Green here. Is he out for revenge on Tom Harris, I wonder? He started at the British Championship at Sheffield, and Johnson's going to be spun out there by a combination of Finnegan and Broxop, and he gets ahead on from 4.62 of Scott Davids. Jack France caught up there as well. Johnson is stuck. Matt Newson goes past him there. Johnson's not going again, but that could decide who tops the world qualifying points this year. The leader goes wide. Tom Harris to avoid the spun car of 2.16 Jack France, who's stuck there. His front wheel's broken, and we're going to go yellow flags once again. Tom Harris had just done the fastest lap of the race as well as Richard Bryan comes to a halt on turn 2 as well. More mayhem in this final here at Bellevue today. Well, Dan Johnson a long way down the order now. It's Tom Harris in 84, the former world champion, who leads ahead of Broxop. Craig Finnegan in 3rd place. Junior Wademan, the world champion, in 4th in number 1. Away we go once again then. Finnegan wasting no time, straight through into 2nd place. Wademan will follow him into 3rd. Danny Wademan, his brother, is 5th. And away goes Tom Harris down the back straight in the 84 car, starting to go clear of Craig Finnegan and Junior Wademan battling for 2nd. Not seeing too much of the number 1 car today. Was involved in that great battle earlier on though with Dan Johnson among others in that crazy heat number 2. 4.62 of Scott Davids spun out there coming out of turn 4. Junior Wademan has just done the fastest lap of the race, 16.842 as he chases 2nd place Craig Finnegan through the clouds of dust. Back in the order starting to string out a little now. Danny Wademan is up into 4th place. Dan Johnson recovering well, he's up to 5th. He's taken Chris Broxop there, chased by Matt Newson. Nigel Green is out of the race, so Dan Johnson needs to push on here. He's going to try and overhaul him at the top of the world qualifying points. It is a tall order. Stranger things have happened in stock car racing. And here at Bellevue, they usually do. Dan Johnson under fire from Matt Newson in the 16 car. Behind them, Chris Broxop, what a great day he's had, the best we've seen him run for some time. Finnegan the leader by half a second ahead of Junior Wademan. Danny Wademan now 3rd, Dan Johnson in 4th. Big push there into turns 1 and 2. Mark Woodhull was involved there in 3.35. That was a battle for 7th place. We lost Nigel Harry into the fence on turn 4 in car 45. There goes Dan Johnson, former national points champion, current European champion for the 2nd time in his career. Won that at Northampton last year. Tom Harris continues to lead, but he's being reeled in by Craig Finnegan in car 55. Oh, and problems there at turn 1. What's happened there? Ben Riley slams into the side of a stationary car. It was James Morris that he tangled with there, Ben Riley. And as he tried to rejoin, I think he spun into the 4.63 car. We're on board with Ben looking back, and as he floored the throttle, I think just spun round And he went straight into the side of James Morris. I'm not quite sure what that was all about, nor is Ben, I don't think. So Tom Harris in car number 84 continues to lead ahead of Craig Finnegan. Third place still Junior Wainman, but has Harris got enough of an advantage? Not too sure what the gap is there because the transponder isn't working on the 84 car. Looks like a gap of around 5 or 6 car lengths now. 3 laps still to run. Wainman's third and fourth, then it's number 4 of Dan Johnson. He's going through past Danny Wainman up into 4th position now. Tom Harris not showing on the leaderboard, as we said. The transponder isn't working on the 84 car as he continues to lead Craig Finnegan. Going to be a close finish, this one. Finnegan might be limbering up here for a last bend challenge. Everybody else dropping slightly away behind him. Junior Wainman in third, waiting to pick up the pieces should the 2 ahead of him tangle. Then we've got Dan Johnson, Danny Wainman, and the rest of them. Into the last lap we go then. Craig Finnegan's getting closer. He's warming up, I think, for a last bend lunge. He's going to come from a fair way back here into turn 3. He's going to lunge in, wallop into the side of Tom Harris, takes him wide into the fence, and Craig Finnegan will take a heat and final double, a textbook last bend lunge there, and Tom Harris drops to third behind Junior Wainman. Great finish there. We could see it coming as they came down towards turn 3. Craig Finnegan came from way back, sent Tom Harris flying. Great move there, straight to the inside. He stood on everything, bang into the side of the 84, and through went the 55 car of Craig Finnegan for another Bellevue final victory. Great stuff from Craig Finnegan. He really loves Bellevue, whatever the conditions. He takes the win then by 0.6 of a second ahead of Junior Wainman. Tom Harris dropping to third, and Dan Johnson an important fourth ahead of Danny Wainman. Dan Johnson also getting the fastest lap of the race.
55, Craig Finnegan, winner of the final. Do or die move on the last corner.
Yeah, it was really. I almost settled for second, but I'll risk it and see what happens.
It was a good battle between the stars all the way through that race, but the track conditions didn't look like they helped.
No, we struggled a bit with track conditions, but all drivers were battling fair, and it was a good fair bit of racing. And amongst the track conditions, it was survivor wins, I think.
And another handy haul of points.
Yeah, I don't know where we're at now, so I'll be told in a minute. So. But who cares?
Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Now on to our support formula here at Bellevue. These are the V8 hot stocks. It's a big race for them, the European Championship final. 3 heats held for them earlier on. White grader Declan Gwynn, number 552, won the first one. 450 Sam Mee won the second, and 288 John Brown won the third. This will be a 20-lap race. It's a closed grid in graded order, and non-qualifiers from the heat starting from the back of the grid. There's the British champion, number 211, Phoebe Wainman, daughter of Junior Wainman. Father and daughter British champions here today at Bellevue. The world champions out there as well, number 1, Adam Joyce. There's the Supreme champion, number 69, Matt Barnard. Fine field we have here to say the least today of V8 hot stocks, a real burgeoning category on the short ovals. 26 cars out there for this European, I should say, championship final. There's the British champion, Phoebe Wainman, with the black and white checkered roof. The winner of this race will be wearing the red and yellow checkered roof. The top names there, Adam Joyce, Guy Jolly in treble 2. There's Rob Scriven, veteran campaigner in 117, the father of Neil and Michael Scriven of brisca F1 fame, starting alongside the 328 car of Michael Boswell. It's 552 Declan Gwynn, the winner of Heat 1, who leads them off. Away we go over 20 laps, and already Terry Hawkins in 275 getting roughed up there out of turn 4. Looks like they've all just about made it round, though. Into the first turn they go. Sliding out these Rover V8 engine machines as opposed to the Chevrolets used in brisca F1. Just about all made it round there. Adam Joyce attacking Phoebe Wainman, but it's Declan Gwynn who leads. Rob Scriven in second, and 409 of Luke Moore in third. Bit of a tangle there. Brian Andrew in 355 involved, along with Michael Boswell and a couple of others. Adam Joyce sideways down the straight there, slings it into turn 1, attacking Darren Cottrell in 575. And Phoebe Wainman gets spun around on turn 2 there. James Billows in the fence in 402. There's Brian Andrew in 355, gets going again after his earlier tangle. Just behind the battle for second. On board with Luke Moore, looking back, there's Andrew battling with 227, which is Sam Wainwright. Looks like he's slowing up there possibly. So it's Declan Gwynn who leads the way ahead of Scriven and Moore at the end of lap 1. Plenty of laps to go yet, though. See the smaller standard road tyres used by these V8 hot stocks as opposed to the brisca F1s, and a change for the lead there. 117. Rob Scriven goes through ahead of Declan Gwynn, the former national mini stock star. Somebody spun there in the middle of turn 4. That was the 149 car, I think, of Mark Radforth. More cars pile in there into a tangle, and the leaders involved, Rob Scriven and Declan Gwynn, have tangled up there. So it's Luke Moore who's gone into the lead in 409. But chaos there on turn 4. Several cars tangled up, including the two erstwhile leaders. 450 Sam Mee, an earlier heat winner. He's in the fence on turn 2. This is just as chaotic as the brisca F1 action we've seen today. So at a quarter distance, it is Luke Moore, the blue grader in 409, who leads. A couple of cars off there, including 525 of Amy Jagger at turn 4. Good to see several lady racers in this formula, a number of them graduating from the national mini stocks over the last few years. Matt Barnard, another national mini stocks graduate in 69 from Staffordshire, has just done the fastest lap of the race. Darren Cottrell stuck there across the turn, everybody going wide. There's not enough room on the outside. We've got a car park on turn 4. The 17 car involved there of George Riley, 423 of Gary Jackson. Adam Joyce got through all of that in number 1 to make up several places. Sheer mayhem out there in this V8 Hot Stocks European Championship. Luke Moore laps Lucy Ollerenshaw in 245. Darren Cottrell has managed to get out of the way on turn 4 just about there. Nobody else slowing Guy Jolly in treble 2. 402 James Billows under fire from the world champion, number 1 Adam Joyce. Fires him into the fence there. Adam Joyce, the former Rebels world champion as well. It's a heavy haulage company during the week, driving low loaders. A push and shove there on turns 3 and 4, all the way down the pack. Phoebe Wayman recovering from her early spin. She's got the 394 car chasing her. 409 Luke Moore, though, continues to lead. Looking back from him there as he comes through some traffic on turn 2, lapping Amy Jagger in 525. 423 Gary Jackson also goes a lap down. Brian Andrew chasing the race leader. He's got a decent lead, trying to put back markers between himself and second place. Luke Moore still leads it. Brian Andrew, I think, is in second place. There's 498. That's one of the Spencer brothers. That's Ollie. Brother Tom is out there as well in 298s. Both ex-national mini stock stars. 275 Terry Hawkins on a recovery drive, battling his way up the order. Very enjoyable racing indeed on the shale from the V8 Hot Stocks this year. Luke Moore continues to lead, looking for his first title in the formula. Brian Andrew has closed up on him. Coming up to lap Declan Gwynn. Earlier scored a heat win from White Grade, but an early spinner tangling with Rob Scriven while fighting for the lead of the championship race. Luke Moore in 409 continues to lead. Terry Hawkins showing in second place on the lap charts, so I'm not sure if Brian Andrew is on the lead lap. We lose the 154 car there, I think that was on turn 3. There's Brian Andrew. Not sure whether he's in second place or whether he is a lap down. Saw him involved in the tangle early on as, talking of tangles, Terry Hawkins takes out Mark Radforth. That's let Adam Joyce through in number 1 into third place in number 1. It's the 409 car who leads the way. Luke Moore coming up on Lucy Ollerenshaw, and the 469 car of Dean Laird. 5 laps to go for Luke Moore in 409, looking for the biggest win of his V8 Hot Stocks career so far, controlling the pace quite comfortably out in front. Further back in the order, there's Matt Barnard attacking the 525 of Amy Jagger. Still Moore leads it, several cars stuck on the inside of turns 3 and 4 there. I think that might be Rob Jacklin, possibly, who's stuck there in 136. Fastest lap of the race by Phoebe Wayman. She's trying to recover her early spin, trying to get into the top 10 there. She is passing James Billows in 402 and chasing after the 482 car of Martin Fletcher. Just a couple of laps to go now for Luke Moore. Here he comes around turn 4. 2 laps to go is the signal. And it looks like he's got this European Championship sewn up here at Bellevue. It won't be a blue roof for much longer. In a couple of laps' time, it's going to be a red and yellow roof will be his reward. for winning this race. Came through when Rob Scriven and Declan Gwynn tangle in the early stages. Into the last lap he goes then, 4:09 Luke Moore, who's had quite a bit of experience in V8 hot stocks over the last few years. Heading for his first title win though. Great drive by Luke Moore. Here he comes around turn 4. He's coming up to take the checkered flag. Luke Moore takes the European Championship. Well done indeed to him. Confirm the rest of the results just as soon as we can. Congratulations, Luke Moore, your new V8 Hot Stocks European champion here at Bellevue this afternoon. What a great race to win. Dominant drive in the closing stages. Luke Moore taking the win. It was Brian Andrew in second place, 1.3 seconds down. Adam Joyce, the gold top, completing the top 3 ahead of Ollie Spencer and Terry Hawkins. John Brown got the fastest lap. 18 cars went the distance.
4:09 Luke Moore, winner of the V8's European.
Yeah, thanks for that. We're just one of them races where we just hung in till end, and I think it was more survival at fittest than fastest car on track, so we just kept picking away and keeping calm, and I think that went way forward, and it paid off, luckily.
Yeah, there was a lot going on at the beginning, but once you hit the front you were away and gone. You were being shadowed, but nobody really got close.
Yeah, we backed off halfway through because I could see we were pretty clear, but then I know they were getting a bit closer, so I had to regain a bit of speed without losing control too much, but it was just hanging in and getting round all them spun cars and just hang in there really. So that's all we could do.
Well, congratulations.
Right, thank you very much.
Last race of the day then, the Grand National for the Brisca Formula 1 stock cars. 25 cars out there. The final winner, Craig Finnegan, is out there for this one. He'll be off the lap handicap just in front of our white grader 268 Richard Woods. Yellow's headed by Elliot Smith and Tim Warwick. They're looking for a change of luck in this one. 16 laps the distance then. Here we go with the last race of the day, the Grand National. Blue graders already all over each other, so are the yellow tops as they go into the first turn. Richard Woods leads them off. Craig Finnegan setting off in pursuit of the field. Well, Richard Woods didn't last long, and neither did Joe Booth. Walloped straight into the fence there. So Richard Woods has pulled off. Your early leader will be, well, one of the yellow tops. They've all tangled up there, coming off turn 4 yet again. I think Luke Dennis has escaped there to take the lead. Tim Warwick is in the fence again on turn 4. This about sums his day up. 192 Luke Dennis has got the lead. Nigel Harry in second place. Scott Davies, the first of the blue tops, in third. The yellow grade rather self-destructed there on turn 4 first time around. They're still trying to sort themselves out as the leader tries to pick a way through. Carl Hawkins stuck there, so is Bobby Griffin. He's had no luck today either, the former National Mini Stocks gold top. Scott Davies has got through in the second ahead of Nigel Harry. James Morris, shale specialist in 463, in behind them. Now, where's our protagonists for? There they are, the protagonists for the top of the world qualifying points, Nigel Green and Dan Johnson. I think we've got yellow flags. Yes, we have. Caution has come out for a few stranded cars on the circuit. Somebody stuck at turn 2. There's one off at turn 4 as well. Chris Broxop there in the fence on turn 4 in 338. Already a winner today. So, 192 of Luke Dennis, it is, who leads the way ahead of 57 Bill Fenwick. Scott Davids in third, and then James Morris. We get back underway. Fenwick very slow away there. The red graders will file past him, headed by Nigel Green and Ben Riley. It's Luke Dennis who holds the early lead then, chased by the 462 of Scott Davids. Tom Harris on the move from the back in 84 will want to make up for being dispatched on the last bend of the final by Craig Finnegan. Debris there in the middle of turn 3. Canvas off one of the tyres, I think. Spin there for 212. Danny Wademan, he does a 360 on turn 4. Race settling down then. Frankie JJ in trouble there, and he's been hit by Billy Johnson. Bill Fenwick spins in avoidance. Frankie JJ hits the fence, gets another punt from 268 Richard Woods. So Frankie JJ got hit from every side there on turn 4. That's caused a bit of a pile up in his wake, and the leader's going to go into it. There goes Luke Dennis. So Scott David says, thank you very much, I'll take over the race lead. So number 4, Dan Johnson on the move. Tom Harris up ahead of him though. Richard Woods gets walloped straight in by our race leader, Scott Davids. The race settles down once again then with a new leader in 462, but Nigel Green is up into second place, being shadowed though by Tom Harris. Race starting to heat up now at the front of the field. Here comes Harris with the bumper on Green. He's going through into second place, and it won't be long, I'm sure, before he has a go at Scott Davids. for the lead of the race. Tangle in the background there. Ben Riley and Richard Woods have tangled up, but never mind that, because now Tom Harris ready to attack. Scott Davids to the lead. Down the back straight they go. Towards turn 3, it's still the blue grader who heads the pack. Tom Harris on the attack. He bashes Scott Davids out wide. Is that going to let Green in for the lead? No, it's not. Good recovery there by Tom Harris to hold on in front of Nigel Green and hold his lead. Green in second place in 4.45. It looks like he's heading for the top of the world qualifying points this year. And as the points leader after the final round, he will get to pick which of the world semi-finals he races in. Everybody else slots in behind him. The 2 world semis at Skegness and at Stoke this year. Dan Johnson, second in the points, gets the other semi to Nigel Green. As Nigel Green gets the pick if he tops the points. He's in second place here. Johnson is in 4th, but of course Green had the much better round at Northampton last time out. Dan Johnson has got the fastest lap of the race though. Can he catch these 3 up front? Still leading the way. It is 84 Tom Harris, the former world champion. 0.6 of a second up on Nigel Green. Then Davids, Johnson, James Morris, Junior Wainman, the world champion in 6th. Then Gilbank, Danny Wainman, Billy Johnson, the first 9. Number 1 of Frankie Wainman Jr. Relatively quiet day for him on the receiving end in his earlier heat. Seems to be struggling a bit here in the Grand National as well. Still leading the way, Tom Harris. Nigel Harris slowing up there on turn 4. So just 4 laps to go now for Tom Harris. Passes Frankie JJ's fenced car there on turn 2. Scott Davids still chasing hard after Nigel Green, trying to hold off Dan Johnson. Stationary yellow flag out there with somebody in the fence on turn 4. That's Tim Warwick in 3.07. Lead up to just over a second now, so Tom Harris is pulling away from Nigel Green. Scott Davids a further half second back in 4.62. Fastest lap of the race by Tom Harris. Will Hunter in 2.20 pulls onto the centre. So a couple of laps to go now then for Tom the Hitman Harris. Nigel Green is going to be the man celebrating most. He is going to top the World Championship qualifying points for 2017. Just got to stay where he is in second place. He isn't going to catch the number 84, I don't think. There's back markers in the way as he comes through turns 1 and 2, but the leader into the final turn. Here comes Tom Harris in car number 84, making up for the disappointment of the final. He wins the Grand National here at Bellevue. Nigel Green will come over in second place. Dan Johnson will take 4th behind Scott Davids, so that decides the World Championship qualifying points then. Nigel Green will finish top. We'll check out the points table in a short while, but here's the result of the Grand National. Harris the winner by 1.7 seconds ahead of Green. Johnson 4th behind Davids. Junior Wainman rounding out the top 5. 12 of the 25 starters went the distance. Fastest lap to Junior Wainman.
84 Tom Harris, winner of the Grand National. You got there in the end, you nearly got the final.
Yeah, that's right. We had a nightmare of a day when we got here. We moved about 6 foot here and the gearbox locked solid, so we missed both heats actually. Managed to scrape through in the Constellation. The car wasn't very good. A few changes to the final, and yeah, I thought it was on. I lost left block on about the second corner. There was a pile of cars and I hit them, and the bumper stay was touching the wheel. So every time I tried to turn left, it locked the wheel up. So yeah, it's a good result in the final. I was struggling, but you know, fair play to Finn. You know, he done it, and I got out the fence and managed to get 3rd. So that's what stock car racing is all about.
That's right. There's been a lot of comments about what stock car racing is all about this week, but I believe next it's stateside.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to America on Friday to race the non-wing sprint car 410 with the USAC boys. So it's, you know, the top division of non-wing sprint cars really. I think we've got 7 meetings in 10 days, so it'll be a very busy time for me.
Very good. And then when you come back, it's the Europeans. Are you back for the Europeans?
Yeah, that's right. We fly back in on the Friday, and it's European Saturday, Sunday. So you know, the boys will successfully do his job, get the cars ready, and hopefully we can show up to European and have a good result there.
We'll see you there.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Bye.
Let's have a look at the points then. While Nigel Green finishes clear at the top in the end ahead of Dan Johnson in the World Qualifiers, with Danny Wainman, Stuart Smith and Matt Newson next, Junior Wayman down in 6th. Nigel Green chosen Skegness as his semi-final, so he'll be on the front row alongside Stuart Smith. Look on the 4th row, Rob Speak. Could he make a comeback? The national points champion to race on the track he now promotes at. The other semi-final at Stoke, led by Dan Johnson and Danny Wayman, with Junior Wayman and Tom Harris on the 2nd row, and Nick Sauder quite possibly on row 3. What a race that's going to be. What a great pair of world semi-finals we could be in for this year. That's about all then from here at Bellevue. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the action. Join us for more stock car racing soon. It's goodbye for now.